All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to the AutoMux Hands-on IT podcast. If you're listening to us, be sure to check out our YouTube channel also, which is youtube.com/@automux. And if you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to check out our podcast as well. And it's available under the Autonomous IT Podcast on all major podcast platforms. So today we have a very special episode lined up for you guys. We have an interview with Andy Malone, who is a Microsoft trainer, Microsoft MVP, and also YouTuber, which his YouTube channel is Andy Malone MVP, which we will have linked down in the description below. So we got to catch up with him at Microsoft Ignite a couple weeks ago and interview him on the trade show floor and got some interesting insights from him. Also, we're at AWS reInvent this week, and if you're there, we always love it when people come by, when our listeners come by and say hi to us. So please feel free to come by. We're booth 1494, and we'd love to see you there.
All right. Today on our podcast, we have special guest Andy Malone. Andy, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, Andy Malone. I'm a Microsoft MVP for 19 years. I'm from Stirling in Scotland, and I'm a regular speaker at these various conferences, and It's a pleasure to be here today.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for coming out. And you want to tell us a little bit more about your YouTube channel, too?
YouTube, I started it in about 3 years ago, just in the midst of the pandemic, of course.
Great time.
And to be honest, I've actually had it since 2008.
Okay.
Like most things, you just don't do anything with it, you know?
Got it all set up.
And, so now it's growing really nicely, 145,000 subscribers.
Oh, that's great.
And it's a dedicated Microsoft 365 channel. So Andy Malone MVP.
Yeah. Well, great. And we'll put that link down in the podcast description too. Get some people over to you, and then. So what's some advice you have for people kind of starting out with Microsoft 365 or starting out in the field of IT?
Oh, in the field of IT, I think, Microsoft do a whole bunch of basic certification, which you can actually take online for free.
Okay.
Well, whether people ask, a lot of people ask me, you must have been in IT for many, many years, which I have. 30 years I've been in IT. So I've been in since the days of MS-DOS. And you've seen massive changes over the years. The other week a kid asked me, he says, have I missed this frontier?
Yeah.
And I said, no. The great thing about IT is it's constantly evolving. It's constantly moving forward.
Yeah.
And now we're in the age of AI, soon to be in the age of robotics. Yesterday I was in Orlando delivering a session on quantum cryptography.
Yeah.
So there's never been a great time to be an IT
and
such as today.
That's what I mean. There's a lot of fear around AI, and I think it's just as much of an opportunity as.
Absolutely.
There's a lot that can be done with it. There's the value add is still the people that can use it. And yes, there's a lot of automation that can happen, but that makes our lives easier too.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure back in history somebody said, only the wheel. I'm not sure about that.
I don't like that. I like my legs.
Yeah, so exactly. So it's just another page in the book. You just turn the page and another page in evolution.
Absolutely. So with all the trade shows you've been to, Microsoft Ignite, especially, that's where we are right now. But what are some of the things that you're seeing come out in this year? Some of the new trends that you see emerging?
Copilot. Copilot.
Yeah.
There's over 100 Copilots.
There's a lot of Copilots.
For all their different products. But also interestingly as well that Microsoft they're pushing the new Windows Server 2025.
Yeah.
And that's going to be subscription-based. Some huge changes with that product, along with the likes of Exchange Server SE or Subscription Edition.
Yeah.
So that kind of migration from on-premises to the cloud, I think, is super important. But what we're also seeing, of course, is a massive increase in interest in security. So, especially with customers who have content still on premises or are in hybrid.
Yeah.
Hackers are quite cruelly still targeting those. So I think security, your product and products like it are super important because we have to kind of fill those holes. We have to shut down ports, shut down services that we don't need in order to keep the bad guy out. And I think security is an evolution that businesses need to move forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. So how did you get started in all of this?
Oh gosh. Well, back in the day when I was a kid, I was on my old personal ZX Spectrum, and you probably didn't have that in the US, but in the UK, the UK kind of spawned this whole generation of home computing.
Yeah.
Then, of course, the IBM PC took over and moved on. For me, the cloud started probably about 18 years ago.
Yeah.
And I went on a train the trainer with Microsoft, and I was one of the first instructors to teach Microsoft 365.
Oh, wow.
So we were a group of 12, and we went forth and kind of spread the message.
Nice.
And here we are 20 years later, and it's alive and well.
Well, good to hear. What's the biggest change you've seen in Microsoft 365 over those 18 years then? So
probably one of the biggest changes was subscription licensing.
Yeah.
So in days past, you used to purchase a piece of software, and you had a license, you owned it, and that was it. Now it's just renting. You just basically you're leasing that software, which is a beautiful model if you think about it.
Yeah.
But the good thing about the technology is it's constantly evolving. So it's constantly pushing forward, constantly changing. And I think one of the benefits of keeping data in the cloud is that Microsoft have got such a great infrastructure that they can protect your data far more than you probably could on premise.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've got a much larger team too than most companies. And
exactly.
But yeah, and I think the subscription model is interesting. I think it almost allows for companies to innovate just as much as it allows for Microsoft to innovate. I mean, there's all kinds of problems with it, but we don't see the people staying on like Office 2003 for years and years on end anymore. I mean, it's like, oh, okay, this update rolled out, we're good to go. Like it's kind of keeps people at the cutting edge of what there is, and it allows for more security updates too.
Yeah.
So.
And I think the thing that one of the big things that's changed for me is the proliferation of different types of platforms as well. So in the past, if I would have mentioned the word, Google or Apple, and in my past presentations, I probably would have not still be an MVP.
Yeah.
Microsoft are much more open about different platforms now, and it's not about the type of device. I mean, one of the most common questions I get on YouTube is, you're a Microsoft MVP, why do you still use a MacBook? But for me, it's not about my device. It's about how I can consume my data in a secure way on any device. And that's what
absolutely. All right, and then a fun question. Is there any piece of software, anything that you've used in the past that's not around anymore that you're like, man, I kind of missed that? So.
Castle Wolfenstein.
There you go.
Wolfenstein 3D. You can actually still play it online, so I love it.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Well, thanks so much, Andy. It's been a pleasure talking with you, and we'll catch you again sometime soon.
You will. Thank you.
All right. Cheers. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks, everyone, so much for joining us on this episode of the Hands-on IT Podcast. The Autonomous IT Podcast Network releases episodes every Tuesday and Thursday, so be sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss any of those, and we'll see you next time.